The Nintendo Powercast is now live on YouTube.
A, Johnny. Press A.
A? Oh, okay.
And these guys are playing Super Mario Brothers.
Very well, I might add. I'm having the best of luck so far.
Professional
streamer. I played this game before. I'm a Nintendo
ever.
fan.
You guys are so fired.
Press A, Johnny.
So fired. So fired.
You're somebody that knows how to play Super Mario World.
I guess. Yeah. Get with it. So we're now live on YouTube, and it's going to go out in audio, all the stuff. And we've decided, you know what? We're going to pick some topics. We're just going to discuss topics.
What?
They might be news.
We're organized today?
We're organized today. So here's what's
halfway.
on
I trolled Josh when he asked for stuff as well.
He did. Yeah, he did. So before we get into it, Player 2, Crawler, what's going on?
Hey, how's it going? Crawler coming at you.
Johnny, Player 3, what's happening?
What's up? Johnny Bo here. Not Johnny Box.
Not Johnny Box. Johnny Bo here. I love it. That's great. Little bit of housekeeping. Head on over to n64josh.com/discord. Jump on in. Hang out with all the good people over there. We got a couple other podcasts I want to shout out. One of them is for the company I now work for, Beamable. And we have the Beamable Gamedev podcast. So if you're an indie developer, one, go check out the show. Two, I want to talk to you. So my DMs on Twitter are open. That's at N64Josh. And it's kind of cool. This week, I'm going to be interviewing Odd Bug Studios. And they have, I don't have the name of their game right in front of me, but it was the rat game where it was like kind of like The Witcher, but you're playing as mice, I guess.
What?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, something like that. And or at least the names of some of the characters sounded like they were from The Witcher. Anyway, it's an Xbox exclusive. But it's looking pretty good. I know it got a lot of hype when it was shown off. And then there's a game on the Switch that is called Night at the Races, which I have a code for that I want to check it out. But I'll be interviewing that dev as well. And Night at the Races is you play as a kid who's trying to win an arcade tournament to get out of his current life circumstances because they're just not great. So, and the game plays like Meat Boy or Celeste kind of is
Ooh.
what, yeah, right there. I knew that was going to be all of a sudden that got some attention. So
what's it called?
Night at the Races. Yeah, Night at the Races. And I don't have the release date in front of me. I think it's this Friday, though. I think it comes out either this Friday or the 9th, or the date's in my head. So, but the 9th may be the day I'm chatting with them. So forgive me, but it is coming soon. It looks pretty cool. Pixel graphics and looks
I
like
am sold.
Yeah, it looks like there's some stuff going on. I don't understand. We just cannot get non-choppy gameplay. I don't know why.
It's the SNES, all right?
I don't know.
It's 30 years old.
It doesn't like it apparently when Crawler shares the screen, so we'll have to come up with it. Now it's looking good. It's inconsistent. That's the thing. It's weird.
What's the bitrate on Restream?
I don't know if I can change the bit. I don't have access to that in the dashboard, so but whatever. So the Beamable Game Dev podcast, the Star Wars, the Bendu podcast. If you like Star Wars, go check it out. The Xbox Factor podcast, go check that out. I'm one of the hosts with Boomstick. It's a great show, 2-hour-long episodes. So if you guys need some, you guys
had a lot to break down.
Background.
You had a lot to break down this week, though.
Meaty Xbox content. Go check out the Xbox Factor podcast. We've got the Halo Infinite podcast that all three of us are on there with Mule, and even the Smash Bros cast came back. And I've been chatting with Jen. I think we're going to do an episode of the Animal Crossing podcast here soon because we're kind of itching for more Animal Crossing content. We're hoping that podcast might be a factor in helping them release.
Yeah, maybe that's why they haven't updated it. Because
I'm thinking that's probably the reason, So we're gonna try to remedy that. But jumping into this, it's a week of rumors, and we love rumors because it gets us something to talk about. It's also a week of celebrating the Super Nintendo 30th anniversary. So let's talk about the rumor number one: Game Boy games making their way on to Nintendo Switch Online. What does this mean? What does it look like? And what are we hoping for? Crawler, are you playing right now?
I am.
Johnny, what are your hopes, dreams, and
it's about dang time if it's true.
There was almost a swear there.
I know.
He's so passionate.
Censored myself.
You did.
No, I mean, like, this is probably the first time I've played the SNES online in like a year, probably. But I've played these games over and over and over and over again. Game Boy games, I haven't played for a very long time, so I'll be interested to see. I want to play some Super Mario 6 Golden Coins. Hopefully they put the Pokemon games on there.
I was gonna say Pokemon because, like,
yeah, right. They will never they not sell us Pokemon.
But like, it's such a because
it's Pokemon's 25th.
Pearl and Diamond are coming out, and they're adding some stuff because this new underground dungeon stuff that they're doing is new, but they're trying to be pretty faithful recreation. So, I don't know. Like, it'd be nice if they would just redo it, but
you know what it's gonna be.
They don't have it. They don't have an incentive to do it, though.
It's just gonna be all the Game Boy games that they put on the 3DS. Like, there's not the Virtual Console on the 3DS has Game Boy games, and it's probably gonna be the same ones,
but not Game Boy Advance.
They're
not going to do Game Boy Advance.
I really hope they would do Game Boy Advance, but
for Metroid.
I mean, that's the main reason why I would hope they would do Game Boy Advance, because Metroid, they could get more of the Metroid series on for people to be able to play before Dread comes out.
Well, not only that, if they do Game Boy Advance, they could do Advance Wars.
Oh, they won't do that because they're selling that for $60. They're selling that for $60. I have zero faith that Advance Wars would come.
Wow.
Well, I can see the Metroid games coming.
Maybe after. Keep going. You're good. You're good.
Woo.
Okay. 2 questions for you guys to think about. What were some of your favorite Game Boy games that you completed? And what were some super obscure games that you remember playing? Okay. And so I'll start so you guys can think about it. Obscure games that I ended up purchasing on my 3DS because I loved it so much from Konami, I believe, is a game called Quarth. And it is one of the coolest puzzle games I've ever played. It's kind of like reverse Tetris in a way. You are this little ship that shoots square blocks. And there's each block, when it hits, you create a rectangle, and then you can keep creating. So there's these like L shapes coming down, and you have to fill in to make a complete square or rectangle, and then that makes it disappear. And it is one of, if not like one of my favorite, if not my favorite, like puzzle game on the Game Boy. Like, I absolutely loved it. If you want to check it out, it's literally $3 on your DS if you're a 3DS, if you still have that system. I can't recommend it enough. And if you get totally addicted, I'm sorry. But I literally showed the game to my wife, and it was like, I did not talk to her the rest of that night. She was just completely just sucked into Quarth. So it's Quarth, Quarth. So
go up.
There you go.
I always hated Cape because it was Cape is cool, but sometimes I mess up.
Get good.
Johnny, do you recall any obscure titles that you played, or any that you just love to play through?
I don't know if this is obscure, but I still have my original Game Boy Pocket and my Game Boy Color. I might actually be able to see them behind me. But I have one game. I don't know what happened to all the rest of my games, but I have one game, and I think it's Dave Mira's BMX. No, TJ Lavin's BMX. TJ Lavin's BMX.
The
I
Dave
used to
Mirra
love
one that was a little questionable, if I remember. Like,
oh, wait, is that the Triple X? The Triple X?
I mean,
No, that's
Game
just XXX BMX or
yeah.
whatever.
But no, like I used to love sports, like those types of, I was always fascinated with the X Games, so I loved BMX and skateboarding, so I would play, BMX games on my Game Boy. And then when Game Boy Advance came out, my favorite game on there was probably Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2 on the Game Boy Advance.
Yeah, that was a solid title.
I remember playing a lot of Game Boy Advance Tony Hawk. Yeah.
Do you? Yeah. I mean, it was. I'm trying to remember. Did it play? Because here's what's crazy: the Game Boy Advance. I don't know if you guys remember this, but it was like 32-bit system, so it's like having a PlayStation in your hands, right? That was the.
It played Tony Hawk played isometric, and it was.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I remember.
But it was
I remember getting
like,
Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Like playing as Spider-Man and Tony Hawk.
Yeah, playing as Spider-Man. Playing as.
Well, and Tony Hawk wasn't the only game that they kind of like changed up the game, like the play style and the gameplay and everything. Wave Race was another one that was like, it played kind of like the old, if I remember correctly, it kind of played like the old off-road games or Super Sprint. I don't know if either of you guys are even old enough to remember either of those games, but they were fun arcade games, 4 wheels on the machine, and like I remember they were always at the pizza parlors. It seemed like you could always find
was that the stand-up pedals? And
you'd stand up, and the 4 little trucks would just go around the track, right? Like you would see all 4 trucks at the same time, and you could get moving if you hit the right turbos and stuff. So, but I remember like Henny, one of our mods, I believe it was him. He talks about Wave Race like whenever we would talk about Game Boy stuff. Like it was a game he really enjoyed. Perfect Dark was another one. So
yeah, that's what they used to do.
There was a Perfect Dark.
Yes, there's a Perfect Dark, old school Game Boy game, like not advanced, like the old school Game Boy game. So
like there's the Donkey Kong Country games. I think it's called Donkey Kong Land.
Right.
In Game Boy. So, I mean, if they bring these Game Boy games, I'm assuming that would be it. Like, I would think the major ones would be the Super Mario Land games, 1 and 2. Hopefully, just 2, because the first one's kind of bad. Tetris. I don't know if they would get the rights for Tetris.
I mean, they already have so many Tetrises. Like, it would be kind of weird. But one thing, talking about obscure, Tetris 2. I had Tetris 2 on old school Game Boy. Oh, why did I do that? Which was more of a Puyo Puyo kind of like it was more like I don't know why I climbed all the way up there.
You had bombs and some stuff like that, right?
Yeah, but it was like it was more puzzle solving.
Do you guys remember playing like Mortal Kombat on the Game Boy? Like doing finishing moves?
It was hard because it was 2-button control.
Yes, it was so difficult. It was so difficult. Street Fighter. I remember I flew to Russia and we did link cables with Mario Kart Super Circuit and with Street Fighter 2. And there was even a first-person shooter on there that was like a survival horror game that we would do deathmatch with, just like it was crazy. Some of the stuff we were doing back then. I remember working in the refinery, and me and my best friend were sitting in they called it a hooch. We sat in the hooch. It was like this tent that was just made out of like visqueen and scaffolding pipe, and we just had to watch these machines as they cooked the metal basically, and we would pass Sonic. I think just the Sonic Advance. We would just do time trials, just trying to shave. Like we would basically speed run levels, and as soon as somebody beat the score, you would pass it off, and then we would just go back and forth, just trying to, and it was a blast. I mean, we killed hours and hours and hours of the day just passing the Game Boy back and forth.
One thing I always did, like when I would go to family gatherings, one of my mom's older sisters had a Game Boy, and we would always play versus Tetris together.
With the link cable.
Yeah, with the link cable. Yeah,
the link cable. Yeah, I remember 1989. I wanted a Game Boy so bad, and I didn't get one. But my aunt and uncle both they purchased two of them for each other for Christmas, and showed up Christmas night, and we got to do the Mario versus Luigi and Tetris.
Yep.
And trying to, it seems, if I remember correctly, like depending on how well you did, the size of rocket that you were given at the end after you finally, whatever level you hit, the more points you scored, the higher you placed, you'd get bigger and bigger rockets. And that's one of those really vivid memories for me, like sitting. It was in my living room at the time, like all the families all around, and I'm just face into the screen on the Game Boy. And I have a feeling it was at that moment that my parents decided I would never get one. And
playing too much of those video games.
Yeah, too much. I had like a 45-minute time limit, so for each day, and
plus the batteries. You ran out of batteries by the.
That's
by
right.
the time the 45 minutes is over.
Right. So the other thing I did is I borrowed a Game Boy, and I borrowed somebody's Metroid 2, and I think you had to kill 32 Metroids, and I killed 31. I had one left, and then I had to return everything. Oof. And I was so sad. It was so sad. So many good times playing Game Boy. Prince of Persia was incredible on there. I think it's a Nintendo release title called Solar Striker, and it's just one of those like shmups where it's just like the screen is moving past you and you're shooting other ships and stuff, kind of like Galaga basically, but it was called Solar Striker, and you could get one power up. Like it was such a rudimentary, like just very basic game. But you go for that high score.
I had the Crash Dummies game.
Oh, okay. All right.
Like the first level was you standing on a skyscraper, and you were trying to fall off the building, and if you were like head down, you would go through like an awning, you'd rip through it. But if you were standing, like if you were skydiving like belly down, you would bounce off it and you could go to a different area. But the whole goal was to just go splat on the target at the bottom. And then there's like some driving levels and stuff. I don't know if I ever beat that game, because those games were just made for you just to keep running around the circles pretty much.
Oh, Johnny mentioned Super Mario Land. Like that game was intentionally made super hard because there was only like 4 worlds or something, like.
I played the first one. I didn't play much of 6 Golden Coins, but I know that's regarded as the better.
Yes, Six Golden Coins is a phenomenal game. It's one of like the most unique Mario titles, I think. Like there's a bunny ear,
the carrot power up.
Yeah, the carrot power up. That there's a claw machine mini game. All of the worlds are like, themed. They had like a haunted theme. They had a toy theme. They had an outer space theme. That game, I love that game so much.
Was that the first appearance of Wario?
Yeah, that was the first time Wario showed up. And then Super Mario Land 3 was actually Wario, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it was Wario
So-
Land, right?
So I have
Like-
very
I believe
fond
so.
memories of those games. I never played Wario Land, but Super Mario Land 2 Six Golden Coins is like one of the only games that I had. It was that and Pokemon.
And it's not an easy game. Like I beat that game probably like 3 or 4 years ago on my 3DS, and I was just like, if you didn't, without save states, that game is like, it is brutal. Like the last level, like I was just like, I cannot believe, like this is absolutely brutal.
They're all brutal because they were made for us to. You got like a game a year.
Right, so you got to stick with it as long as possible without completing it too quick.
Question for you guys: how many times on this bonus stage would you guess it correctly and then accidentally miss the last one and be so pissed that you jumped through and you couldn't go back and, and I just missed my extra life right there by caping it.
Yeah, those were frustrating times. Looking back on other notable Game Boy titles, the Ninja Turtles games were like I think Shredder's Revenge is the new one. Return of the Foot Clan, I think.
That sounds right.
Or Clash of the Foot Clan. I can't remember. There's 2 Turtles titles on there. Absolutely stellar games. Like for the time, and if you were a Turtles fan, like you probably played the Turtles games. If I remember,
it was just the golden age of licensing too. Like I mean, and it was also the time of games that were made on NES or Super Nintendo that were then they found a way to obscurely port it to Game Boy because I like Home Alone and some of those games were all on the bigger, like the home consoles, but like I had Home Alone and I think I had Home Alone 2 as well on Game Boy. So
that's
yeah,
what we need to come back. Movie
tie-in games.
Yeah.
Then they had like a Tim Burton's Batman game, right?
Yeah, the NES was littered with them. Like they had the Batman, they had the Friday the 13th game, and
NES had Predator and Total Recall. I mean, like literally, you get R-rated movies into NES games. You know, like, but I mean, this would, well, I'll save it for later when we get into the Super Nintendo. But yeah, the first time I played Kirby.
That's where I first played Kirby. Yep. I played so much Kirby in Dreamland.
Yeah. And Mega Man. My real like introduction and the most I played Mega Man on Game Boy on the school bus. Like I must have been the smoothest talking kid around because I never owned one, but I was always playing one. So I don't know like it was maybe it wasn't smooth talking, maybe it was threats of violence, and that's how I ended up with Game Boys. I honestly don't remember though. I think what it was, I think it was a lot of the kids that had them, they were bored with the games they had. So they were like, yeah, I don't care, play it, and maybe they'd charge me like a candy bar or something, but it was like it was so well worth it, you know what I mean, to be able to play a video game on the school. I had like an hour and a half school bus ride, so like it was like the chance to play video games on the bus was like, it was the best. And I could not convince my parents to get me a Game Boy. Couldn't do it. It wasn't until the Game Boy Color when I was 19, I bought it myself. We were taking a trip.
Oh no.
My wife and I were taking I don't even want to say like for what it was. I don't want to say it.
I have to know.
Was this your honeymoon?
No, this was after. This was after the honeymoon. It was a dairy farmer convention because I used to work on a farm when we first got married. And I remember there was this comedian at this convention that was like, "Hey, kid, you're going to take over the farm." And I'm like, I'm not. I'm not. I'm not. Right. And everybody like turns and looks at me in the place because they were all like hardcore farmers. And I was like, nope, not for me. But I picked up Pokemon Yellow and Mario Golf for the Game Boy Color, the lime green Game Boy Color. And Mario Golf with Game Boy Color was so great. We talked about it not too long ago, but being able to take your character or unlock characters in Mario Golf 64 with the transfer pack, right? And then fast forward to the Game Boy Advance with Animal Crossing and being able to like take the old NES games with you on the go that were found.
Those were the days when you didn't have to pay extra for these games, you know?
That's right. Yeah.
Well, I mean, the biggest thing about Pokemon Yellow in Coliseum, you could have a Pikachu that knew Surf, or was that Coliseum, or was that was Coliseum, or probably not Coliseum? Stadium.
Got it. Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, they're like so many great titles, so many fond memories, and
he's going
again. Like, if we only see first party or mainly first party games and just kind of some of these obscure titles that we've been getting that like nobody cares about.
I care about Joe and Mac.
Yeah. How about the firefighting game? You care about that one?
Donald Trump Soccer.
Yeah. Donald Trump Soccer.
I just think, these, live online services, like I don't think people are playing these games. I would love to see the analytics of the NES and the Switch online and the SNES online. And
I don't think we need to see it. Look at the games they're sending us. They're like, yeah, people don't play these. They don't give a crap.
Well, I mean, the coolest thing about this is like we are playing this like we're sitting in the same room. Johnny was like, "Oh, this is 2-play," because I knew what we were setting up and what we were doing. But like Johnny was like, all of a sudden he was Luigi and he didn't realize it. He's like, "Oh, I get to play." I was like, "Yeah, we're like sitting on the couch next to each other with 2 controllers plugged into the Super Nintendo, and
I get to use." You guys can't see it on the audio version, but I get to use the Nintendo Switch SNES controller that I bought for $90 or whatever it was, $50.
Oh yeah, we had to have them. They feel good in the hand.
So I can't wait until we get a little extension Game Boy,
Yeah, right.
A mini Game Boy.
Game Boy Mini.
So I mean, this rumor is something I had called for to be seen at E3, right? Didn't I say that on our E3 prediction show?
I know it was talked about for sure. I mean, it's been talked about forever, though. I mean, we've been wanting this for quite some time, just because we want to just know. I think as gamers, we just take comfort in the fact knowing that games we've loved as kids are at our beck and call without. Like, yeah, we'll just emulate or whatever, but like,
and it's about video game preservation, which Nintendo has given us the opportunity to play the games, but it's always come at a cost. Don't pick that up, Johnny.
Nah, dang it. We can do this. We're getting this. We don't need these blocks.
We don't need the block for the secret exit. There you go. Bye-bye, Yoshi. Thank you for your sacrifice. But it's nice that like it makes the Switch a more ultimate kind of machine, that there is this history of Nintendo. Like, so what we're playing right now, Super Mario World, is probably one of the most played games on the service that they have. That and Mario 3 on the NES side. So and these are games that if you've been on with Nintendo for a while, I bought this on Super Nintendo. I bought this on Game Boy Advance. I bought this on. Was this on Game Boy? Was this one on Game Boy Advance, or was that just Mario 3?
It was. No, it
so
was.
I mean, and then I bought it on Wii, and I bought it on. Luckily on Wii U, I got to transfer it. But like,
nope, you had to pay $1.
Did
Oh
I?
yeah, I forgot you had to pay $1 to do that.
You had to pay $1. I'd buy that for $1.
Heck, I'd do that. If I could have my virtual console library on my Switch, I would pay $1 per game. I would do it.
They know you would.
That's what they're going to announce in this Nintendo Direct rumor.
Yeah,
is that a good transition right there?
The Pokemon games, if we ever see them, it's going to be a collection that's $60.
Well, this year, so speaking of Pokemon, this year is the 25th anniversary.
Yeah.
So it is plausible that they release them.
Hey, I did that first try. Look at that.
I don't know if we'll get them in the Game Boy Player or whatever they want to call it, the Game Boy Switch Online.
No way. They should. They should, but there's no way. Pokemon.
Do you want to know how much they are on 3DS?
I mean,
like $20 probably still.
They're $10. They're $10 a pop.
Yep. Yeah. They're never gonna be free. If they are free,
they're upping the cost of Switch Online. Then
I don't even. I don't know. I should have to do something. If they put a Pokemon title, if Game Boy games come to Nintendo Switch Online, and if there's blue, red, and yellow, there's no way. There's no way if they sell them for $10 on the 2DS that they're coming. There's just no. It can't. It can't happen. It can't. It's just not.
Maybe they're turning over a new leaf.
But I guess the question is, does this launch? I feel like it would need to launch with kind of the style that SNES launched with, where it came out of the box with a decent amount of titles.
It came out with like 21 titles, right?
Yeah, and then it was very lackluster drops after that,
except for Donkey Kong.
True,
right? But again,
and Joe and Mac.
All it is us talking about it, but then never actually playing it. And I think because they know that, they're just like, we don't need to rush this. Like, yeah, a few people on the internet are going to tweet about it, and some podcasts and YouTube videos will talk about it. But like, there's very few people that are picking these games up to play them.
They would also placate a lot of people too if they announced like a Nintendo 64 Mini or something like that in this Direct.
The minis are done too. The minis are done. I'm sorry, but they're done.
I think the controllers are what are throwing off. Like, how do you plug the controller? Would be. I mean, I'm all about that life.
They need to get away from so they've been using leftover Wiimote port parts.
Yeah,
so they need to get away.
USB port. It's like
yeah,
USB.
They need to. It's a USB like B port, I think is what it's called.
I think so.
Because it's A and C are the standards,
right.
And yeah,
it's USB Wii. Okay, that's what it is.
USB Wii. But that's the thing they need to like. The biggest thing that they could allow for more stuff to be able to be plugged in right off the bat. There's something that's going to come kill me if I stay in the water here, right?
That's Super Mario 3.
That's Super Mario 3, yeah.
Oh, but there's something up there I want probably.
Here, the thing is
if they did Type C controllers, then it would be all good.
Yeah, well, that'd be great. But maybe they do minis, maybe, right? But like, are we even going to see 64?
Become USB ports.
Because then you can play with the you could play in theory. I'm gonna die. In theory, you could play with a Switch Pro controller, because it would do all the same functionality.
That's cute, but then they can't make more sales.
But they can still make more sales because if they're smart, they would do all the. Johnny's just gonna skip everything I couldn't do. All the if they do all the wacky translucent neon colors, they'll get
Switch
people
Pro controllers.
No, for Switch Pro controller, hey, they would sell a lot more $60, $70 controllers, whatever they are, if they did that. Versus,
oh my gosh, if they brought the smoke and ice and.
I mean,
Like-
the stupid Forza controller that Xbox just announced. I bought it because it's translucent, and now I'm gonna have to buy. Now I want to buy a $200 Elite Pro. Like, Xbox is like taking over what like the nostalgia pull of the translucent and just the cool looking controller and systems that Nintendo had back in the day.
And they still do the Smash controller, the Xenoblade, the Monster Hunter. Like they're all the Zelda Joy-Cons. I mean,
which I saw 2 sitting in the aisle at Target today. I was kind of surprised.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's crazy. So I just wonder, after they saw how much money they made off of Super Mario 3D All-Stars, what are they going to do with 64? What are they like?
Why did I click on this? I don't know.
Now, granted, that is Mario, right? So it pulls some serious weight. And speaking of Mario, is he going to make an appearance at this?
You lose your turn.
This rumored direct. Will Mario make an appearance at this rumored direct?
Mario Kart 9 will.
Mario Kart 9 will. Okay. All right.
We're going on the hype train. Mario
Kart 9 is a total. That's an E3 mic drop. Like
that's the E3 2025. Because like literally I turned my Switch on the other day and the first thing I saw was buy Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. I was like, you sons of like, why?
They sent me an email about WarioWare. Like, are you ready for it? It's like, okay.
Yeah,
I haven't seen anything about the rumors, like what is going to be in this direct. Just that, everybody is saying there's going to be a direct soon because there's been a direct.
Historically, there's been one like every September,
for 4 years or something.
And random shower thoughts, I guess the other day, like I was with all these rumors swirling. I was like, well, I was just sent an email reminding me that I was about to be charged for my Switch Online. So it's coming up on an anniversary of that. They did the SNES drop at the 1 year anniversary.
And then nothing.
So, I mean, COVID, we can excuse that a little bit, I guess. But like, yeah, we're coming up on a time where they do embrace an anniversary of. Did you just go in a circle?
I think I did.
So we've all kind of been in a little bit of a slump when it comes to Nintendo right now, right?
Except for Unite. Unite, I think, has been the saving grace a little bit for me. I turn on my Switch.
That's not even like a Nintendo game. That's a Pokemon game.
Let's not split hairs here.
I don't know if I've seen. Do you see Nintendo in the splash screen? I don't even know if you do.
Well, you see Nintendo in your hand because you're not playing it anywhere else.
True. Not yet. Aren't there like 5 million people pre-registered or something like that?
7.5 million.
Wow.
Woo!
I think it's gonna sell. That's gonna be the moneymaker.
And I mean, not only is that awesome,
I love this boss fight.
Hopefully that means that game keeps getting massive support.
No, wait.
No.
I said wait.
I jumped. I pressed the jump button. Sorry,
watch Johnny Boy die. Yeah, but I mean, hopefully Unite just makes so much money that they just keep making updates and improving and making the game better and more fun and just like that's the point of live service games, right? That like if you want to become strictly a Pokemon Unite player, you can because of what, the way that business model is. That's what I'm looking forward to Infinite for. It's just like a game that I can just lose myself in for a very, very long time. So
see, that's the thing with like Nintendo games, and I think it has to do with the more single player nature that they tend to lean towards. Like Skyward Sword just came out a little over a month ago, and I haven't seen many people talking about it right now.
No, they're flash in the pan. They'll sell a couple million copies.
It was the best-selling game in the month of July.
Yep.
I mean, they'll sell a ton of copies, and people will enjoy it, and people will. But I think for the internet, like the streaming age and the internet age that we're in, they don't have long lives, and Pokemon Unite
It's the first one that feels that way.
Yeah, it feels like it could have lasting legs, but even now, like it dropped. Say on Twitch, it dropped down to like what a typical Nintendo game would be. A few thousand viewers. But when it comes to mobile, who knows? That's a whole other game.
It's a whole different genre of streamers that have different style setups to be able to play those games, because they have like an overhead cam set up and then also like an iPad capture camera set up. Like some of those players are a lot different.
And not only that, but the game has the potential to start rivaling League of Legends and become a serious esport, right? It has the foundation if they can keep it. Yeah,
it's a very simplified and more compact version of that, because like league games and stuff can go for like 45 minutes to an hour.
Yeah,
sure.
But it is nice that it's condensed to 10 minutes, but it also is frustrating that the game is severely controlled and dictated by the last 2 minutes of the game. Like that is its downfall, but also like the exciting portion of it.
You just described basketball.
Good.
Yeah, kind of.
That's what it is. It's Pokemon basketball.
And people love basketball, right?
I mean, it exactly is, because you're dunking those balls on into the hoop.
But that's what I mean. If it's successful enough, like those kind of issues can be addressed. Like those are the kind of things that they can improve on and start going, okay, why is it happening this way? And what can we do? Maybe they need to, do something that's within those last 2 minutes. That's going to make each team have to decide, are we going to go here or are we going to go back here? Because maybe there's some kind of high risk, high reward that takes place. I don't know. I don't really play the game. I don't really understand it all that much, but that it's, I want to see something that is tied to Nintendo finally get into the kind of spotlight it deserves. And Smash could have been it. Splatoon could have been it, but Nintendo won't put any money into it. If they would put money into the esports and make it worth people's time to really play these games and compete at a high level. And I mean, I was just looking for B-roll and looked up League of Legends, like esports, the like live events. It's like a coliseum worth of people just like so stoked and so excited.
They have a whole big coliseum built in China somewhere, right?
It was nuts.
That's another thing as well. China's whole video game ban.
Yeah, 3 hours a week? Like I'm like, my
1 hour, 3 nights a week. Yeah, that's it.
My parents are cool now. I just want to throw that out there. But like,
I mean, I don't think Nintendo doesn't care about the esports. They get their $60 and then they move on,
But I think that's slowly coming to an end.
Maybe. Well, I mean,
maybe not in the Switch's lifespan, but
and you look at the difference in perception between Sony charging you $10 to $30 for a director's cut, quote unquote, that isn't really that. They're just coming up with a different name for Game of the Year, quote unquote edition, Ultimate Edition, whatever. At least on Ghost of Tsushima or however you want to say it, like you get DLC mixed in there. But the charging for the upgrade is kind of frustrating, especially if you're in both ecosystems, or I didn't jump right. Or if you become used to what Xbox is offering you, where you buy a game once on the digital storefront and you get the best version when it's available to you, versus Sony that's trying to milk as much money out of you as they can. And then you have Nintendo that will sell you an old, a 13-year-old game for $60.
Or even a brand new 2D platformer for $60 when you've got arguably games that are just as good in Hollow Knight and
Axiom Verge 2. I've heard Axiom Verge 2 is really good. I need to sit down and play a little bit of it.
And I'll buy Metroid. I'll buy 3 copies of it. I don't care because I want that to stay alive. But like, even, you know, I still consider myself a hardcore Nintendo fan. Even I'm going, man, like, looking at Metroid, don't get me wrong, it looks awesome. And I had no problem paying that for the
I'm excited for the collector's edition, but yeah.
Same. And I had no problem paying the 39 or whatever for Samus Returns on the, but getting above
Plus the amiibo.
39 plus the amiibo, right? I mean, they're getting me totally, but it's the first time that I've like, do I want, like, you know, there was hesitation, and I haven't had that hesitation. And especially now with like games like Halo Infinite, where it's like they're taking their biggest brand and making it free. Like, I want Nintendo, or making it free to play. I want Nintendo to follow suit. I want Mario Kart to be a games as a service game. Like,
look at all those extra lives.
I want to sit and play Mario Kart for years with season passes, with continued cosmetics and DLC. Like, I'm ready. But we got way off topic. Get back to E3.
We did get way off the topic.
What is going to, with this year feeling kind of like somewhat lackluster for us, right? Not for everybody. For some people, it's been an incredible year for Nintendo, and that's awesome. And I'm so happy for you. I really am. But what would it take for Nintendo what would need to release, or at least get announced, that you would be like, yo, I can't believe they're doing this, or I am so pumped and can't wait to start playing some more Nintendo games and can't wait to play this game. Crawler, what would that have to be for you?
It kind of goes against what we've kind of just been bitching about, but like, give us the Zelda 3D 3D collection with I mean, put Ocarina and Majora's and Wind Waker and Twilight Princess and I mean, give us something crazy. I know. But give us something crazy. But I don't think we'd get all, 5 games that I just listed. But like Wind Waker, Twilight Princess, at least the two HD remakes that have happened, like, people are wanting that.
For $60.
Yeah, I mean, we pay. I bought the Mario 3D collection twice, once digitally, once physically. So I mean, we're part of the problem. But that would get people excited. I think it would get them talking again. But
let me say this real quick about the 3D collection, because yes, we've played through all those games. We've purchased those games multiple times, but I had my nephew stay the night with me last Saturday, Friday, Saturday, or Saturday, Sunday. And he was so excited to tell me about how he had almost beaten Mario 3D World, and how he had almost completed Mario Galaxy, and how he liked playing Sunshine, and like, I'm so glad that he's getting to experience that at 5 years old. You know, like, that's amazing. And so I know, like, you know, we can be a little, like, you know, rough around the edges maybe, or like, you know, get off my lawn. But like,
I love Wind Waker. I want Wind Waker HD on my Switch. I want, even if I don't play it, like, having access to every Zelda game would be amazing.
Well, I mean, just staying on the Zelda theme, if they told us we were getting Minish Cap in the Link's Awakening art style, game over for me. Like, I'm in. Like, I'm sold this year. Nintendo wins this year. You know, that's Minish Cap is one that I've only played very little of, and that art style for Link's Awakening, where it looked like you were playing with toys and stuff, gorgeous. Like, that's
with a better frame rate.
I mean, I don't even remember the frame rate being an issue. You know, like, do
you want to know what would make me really excited?
Yes.
A Switch Pro. I want a Switch Pro so I could run the games that I love
So you can play Apex on the Switch handheld on the OLED.
I want to just
no. Even like Breath of the Wild. Like I would love to have that run at a stable 60.
Or I've been playing a lot of Minecraft Dungeons because that's what William has wanted. He's like he finally was wanting to pick up a controller and play with me, so he's been playing that with me. But like that game can chug if you get enough ads on screen. It's just there's so many different things happening just in the area that the Switch could benefit from a hardware upgrade.
You know what's interesting is like thinking about Minecraft Dungeons is I know there's like Pokemon Dungeon games, right? But what if they were built out similar to Minecraft Dungeons? I almost feel like Minecraft is Xbox's Pokemon. I know they bought the company, right? And I mean Nintendo is like a major shareholder.
I was about to ask you, Johnny, if you were chugging because it's slowing down on my screen. That's not good. Speaking of the Switch struggling,
yeah,
can't even run emulators.
Right as we're talking about it, but I'm glad, like we were talking about the Dungeons is kind of what Unite is for the Switch right now, right? And I'm
frozen, by the way.
I'm digging that stuff. What? Who's frozen?
An error. Hold on, my camera.
Oh yeah,
my camera ran into an error.
I thought he was. He was super intense at like.
He was pantomiming. You know, he's being a ventriloquist.
He's like, I'm not gonna blink for the rest of the show. Don't worry about blinking. I'm good. But no, like a Zelda announcement of some kind would.
I mean, we're still in the 35th, and they didn't really show like we got Skyward Sword.
Mm-hmm.
We got the Game & Watch, but this time last year is when we found out about the Super Mario 35th anniversary information. That's when we got
it was out like a month later,
yeah.
right? Or like a week later.
I can see that happening. That would get me excited. Like I think next year is very exciting for me for Nintendo anyway, because we have Breath of the Wild 2 that's slated to come out next year. Splatoon 3 is supposed to come out next year. Metroid Prime 4, maybe.
I've had that game pre-ordered on Best Buy for a while now.
Yeah. Don't even let that word, those Metroid Prime 4, don't even let those words come out of your mouth. Like
it could be 2020 or 2017 part 2. You had Breath of the Wild. Yeah, you could get a Mario Kart. You get a Mario Kart. You could get Arms 2. You get Arms 2.
It's the same.
Maybe 1, 2, 3 Switch. 1, 2, 3 Switch.
Oh, there you go.
A Mario game, Mario Odyssey 2. Yeah,
just stop.
You gotta be hopeful. Oh, what? I was ducking those.
Does Mario make a return at a direct?
Mario Maker.
Mario Maker?
Mario
make a return.
Does
not Mario Maker return?
No. Does Mario make a return? Like, or is there a little bit of fatigue after the 35th anniversary? I think if an Odyssey was announced, it would be like a sequel to Odyssey. But I don't know.
I think people will always buy Mario. Like I don't think anybody's fatigued with Mario.
But what did Odyssey was that barely in the top 5 for games sold on Switch, right?
Still sold like 20 million units.
Yes.
That's the thing. But
it's surprising. It's not the powerhouse that it used to be.
But I know for a fact it alone brought some people. I mean, wasn't it the game?
It brought me on board. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, but imagine a game gets announced that plays similar to the Bowser's Fury.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think that was a proof of concept, and I think it did a good job proving that concept that they can have this broken out kind of area that you play in, but it's all seamless, which was really fun and cool to experience. I wish it was longer, but again, it was proof of concept, so we're kind of just trying it out.
Are you ready for Bowser's Fury Deluxe?
It's a remake.
I don't know. I want a Mario game. Like I want all these their big titles to come back. Like a lot of people have the complaint that Nintendo is Mario, Zelda, and Mario Kart. You know,
Fine.
but yeah, those games are awesome. They're awesome.
Well, and something like Josh suggested, I don't know if this was our E3 show or not, but like, take a page out of what Ubisoft is doing right now and do a Riders Republic style with some of your old IP. Do 1080 snowboarding mixed with Wave Race, mixed with Pilot Wings, mixed with I don't know. I mean, just go crazy with it.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, if there was a Star Fox announcement, I'm all about it, right? If Animal Crossing,
fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice.
I will still. It's those games that have that foundation that they have some missteps.
Yes. Star Fox Zero Deluxe.
Oh my gosh, get out!
They could do so much with multiplayer. Like embrace your old IP, but this is going back to what we talked about at the beginning. Like give your game some life to continue growing. Star Fox 64 had great multiplayer, and they had some hidden stuff in there where you could do the rocket launcher on the ground and the landmaster, and there was some crazy stuff that you could do. Integrate some of this really cool stuff, fix your netcode, use whatever Capcom is using for Rise, and get some fun experiences attached to your IP, and fix Mario Kart Online. There's no question of what's happening, and rubber banding, and that didn't happen on my screen, and all that kind of stuff. Just let's have a fun experience.
Well, and I mean, we've seen a little bit from like Capcom this year, right? We saw the Ghosts and Goblins, right?
Oh, jeez, I forgot about that. But Capcom's carrying the Switch this year with the Monster Hunter games.
Let me rephrase that. They were doing so much with like Street Fighter and Mega Man, right? There was, and so I'm curious if we're gonna see something else like that, or I mean, is it the same kind of thing where like everybody, they all we've seen what we've seen, and it's gonna be a minute or two. I mean a year or two before we see.
Where do I get the balloon?
Else. Like we were talking about, like to have a 2017 over again. Like there was a ton there. There was a ton. Like there were Street Fighter games. There was, and
Street Fighter 2.
Yeah, and not that I like the what was it, the HD remake or whatever, and then there was also
there were two versions,
right. And so I'm still just hopeful for some. I'm not saying I want more Street Fighter or Mega Man, but I want to see something else of that caliber getting announced
at another 12
at another direct.
Well, 11 was criticized pretty hard, so I don't know. will we get a 12?
But you know what? And I'm going to push back a little bit, Crawler, on the whole wave race and stuff. I'm playing devil's advocate here because I want these things, right?
Mm-hmm.
But what did we see get announced at E3, but not a ton of people got super hyped about? Was essentially a new cruising game. Those were huge on the 64.
Yeah.
But
they kind of looked like they were still on the 64. I think that's...
You're not wrong. You're not
I think cruising would maybe do better if they did a full an ultimate cruising where it was all, because I mean, and those were also such a staple of the arcade. That was piggybacking off of the bring it home and play it with you. And arcade experiences are fundamentally flawed. They're there to eat quarters. And so, I mean, there's there's great arcade games. There, I mean, one of the biggest, I think, pushes right now for something that people want to see is Marvel vs. Capcom 2 get like re-released and brought back to like its true glory of what it actually was, because that's a game that's now lost to the whole licensing problem. But
if you guys are only listening, if you could have seen
Johnny just ran off a ghost house with a cape.
The most effort I've ever seen somebody give to walking off the ledge and dying. Like,
I just wanted Crawler to complete this level because I hate it. So
I hate the ghost houses in Super Mario World are true challenges. Like they are. There's very little help given to you. The puzzle is actually harder than boss fights are, and you have to actually remember what you're doing.
Going back to the Marvel vs. Capcom thing, though, I mean, Capcom has always been a staple with Nintendo, right? I mean, at least during the Super Nintendo days, like, it would be great to see both of them throw the money at Marvel that they, whatever they need.
Yeah, they got to play ball with Disney, but and Sony at that point, because Spider-Man and Venom are in that, and Marvel vs. Capcom 2 was a great. I remember spending a lot of time. It was at an arcade machine that was at my local rec center that I worked at, that I would play before I went to work. Like, it was a game I really enjoyed playing. So it would be nice to see that come back, because Marvel vs. Capcom 3 was not as good.
I mean, I enjoyed all of them,
intimate.
but I just know that 2 was like it's a lot of people's favorite. A lot of people really, really like that game. And so, yeah, to see something like that preserved and announced, like everybody, like, how much buzz that would create. And if it was a Switch exclusive, not that we like, I know not everybody loves exclusives, but like if Nintendo put out the money to make that happen so that the only place that game was preserved was on the Switch.
Like, they have somewhat of a relationship with Disney because they had the Marvel Ultimate Alliance.
Yep, exactly. So, and that had Venom and Spider-Man. It seemed like with no, like.
Somebody just asked what this game is called.
What? Chat, this is Super Mario World.
Oh, and now we feel old.
I gotta go.
My back's hurting,
I need to go grab some.
Do?
I think you can
Bengay and go to sleep.
I think going through that the first time allows you to get on top. That's why I hate the ghost houses in this game. They're very challenging.
Challenges are good.
They are good, but this is part of the hardest part of.
Speaking of ghost houses that were on the Super Nintendo for the first time, it is the Super Nintendo's 30th anniversary. We're already over an hour, but I don't care. We're gonna keep going because we're having a good time talking about Nintendo. And Chad is asking if you can play this game on Switch Online. Yes, that's how we're doing this right now. Because of the 30th anniversary of the Super Nintendo, we decided to play some Super Nintendo games. So Johnny and Crawler are playing, and I'm just keeping the conversation alive. Super Nintendo was a game or a system.
I think that's it, Johnny.
It was a console Christmas for me. I begged and begged and begged. And we did not. My parents never had a ton of cash, but they made sure I had the best Christmas ever. 92, I believe. I got it. It may have been a year later because they were probably hard to find. So it's probably 93. Might have been 92 though. I remember my friend got one the day they released.
Do we have to secret exit this to continue? And
then we rented from the Highway Home Electronics, the little rental gas station right next to I-5 near my house. We rented Street Fighter 2, and I played as Zangief, and I played so much Super Nintendo. The hype around the system, I tweeted about it because you cannot. that'll never happen again. Like, yes, there's hype about stuff, but like when we're given information about stuff now, it's like there's just so much of it, and
There was no internet back then.
there was no
Well,
internet,
and the console had been out in Japan for like a year.
and so we had Nintendo Power, we had Game Pro, we had magazines, we had TV commercials, and I mean it was on the news. Even like the news would be talking about like, man, look at how many more colors Mario has. Like it was nuts. It was the marketing stuff, the commercials of like,
now you're playing with power.
Now you're yeah, exactly. Like, just
don't go through that one.
So I guess I gotta go through the first one.
Try the first one.
It was a time like no other, and opening the Super Nintendo on Christmas morning. I remember begging my aunt and uncle. I'm like, "Do you guys know if I got one? Did I get one? Let me know tell me if I got one." They're like, "We're not."
I always know where my parents hid the presents, so I always knew what I was getting. I always knew I was getting Porky Pig's Revenge or whatever the heck. I had the most obscure games on the SNES as a kid. I still have them. I actually have them. They're like on display right here, and I have my original SNES on the display.
Nice and yellow.
It's nice and yellow. Wouldn't have it any other way. The SNES was the first console that I had. Like, it was my console. I remember me and my sister played it constantly. We would play Tetris Attack so much.
My siblings would play Tetris Attack. My brother would break out in hives. He would get so into that game, he would break out into hives.
If you want to like experience that game, but come on, I'm pressing the button. But if you want to experience Tetris Attack, like now, there is a game like it on the SNES online. I don't know what it's called. It's like Patapon or Puyapon or something like that.
Right.
It's a Japanese game.
It's literally Tetris Attack, but they just have a different name. That's it.
Yeah, they don't have the Tetris. They don't have the Tetris IP.
Exactly. But I mean, to give you an idea about Tetris Attack, it was when we played it, I think my aunt and uncle had it, and my wife played it, right? I had to go. This was like 2000s, and Toys R Us still had Super Nintendos in stock, and I bought the Super Nintendo Slim, the reversion of it, or whatever, or the revision of it, and
no, I pressed the button too.
We still have it to this day. And my mom, I remember I was walking to her. I drove up to her house, and she's walking out. And she's like, "Hey, I got this Super Nintendo. Do you want it?" And I was like, "Oh no, we already have another one." And I think she threw it away. And that was the one I opened on Christmas morning. And it kills me to this day because I wasn't collecting that stuff back then. It kills me to this day. I did take the basket of all the games, so I got all the games and controllers and stuff. But the Super Nintendo. And the ones I have now, I have some that I've just picked up along the way. Like, one of them looks like people used it as an ashtray. I'm not even sure how you let the Super Nintendo get beat up this bad. Like,
does it still work? Does it still work?
They both work, yeah, but they're pretty ugly. They're pretty ugly. So let's talk about some of the obscure and favorite titles of the SNES from back in the day. Whose turn is it right now? Is it
Johnny's going, so I'll
go.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. Like I had a hand. Now I'm getting some of my 64 games confused too. I don't think I had a ton of titles for my Super Nintendo. I probably played this game that we're watching a ton. I think I just played it over and over again. But
I don't want
it. There you go. Now you can go in the cloud. But like I had Aladdin. I think that was what is referred to. I guess as
games.
I was blissfully unaware. I guess that it was the inferior version. Because I think
when we were kids.
Yeah, the Genesis version is superior, I guess. But I kind of wish I had in the Switch version that I have of Aladdin. I wish I had the Super Nintendo version, just so I could relive what I know I played. But I'm trying to think what else.
You keep thinking about it.
Yeah.
It was a time where sports games were coming into their own. NFL Quarterback Club.
Yes, I had that game. That was amazing.
It was
Super
so
Tecmo Bowl.
good. Yes, the Tecmo Bowls were great. Play Action Football was a game that I would play with my dad like constantly.
Actually, you know what? I have Quarterback Club next to me. Hold on. We got to show it.
Yeah, you got to show it. Do it.
So
Yeah.
I have these two as well because these are really cool. This is every single Super Nintendo game. These are volume 1 and 2 of the omnibus of SNES games. So it has this is A through M, so it's just got just crazy. It's like a page or two about most games, and it's all just alphabetical. You can just see some of the craziness that is game. I just turned to a page. Cliffhanger, the movie, the game. Like, come on.
The Rocketeer. I remember that was a game.
Oh, I remember. So now that I'm flipping through this, I played a ton of Donkey Kong Country 2 because I remember playing a ton as Diddy and Dixie.
Yeah. I've told the story many times. My little brother erased my 98% Donkey Kong Country. Yeah.
There are 2 Chester Cheetah games in here.
I believe it.
Chester Cheetah, Too Cool to Fool, and Chester Cheetah Wild Quest.
Did Cool Spot make a Super Nintendo game?
I saw Cool Spot in here. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Seven up characters. I mean, come on.
Right. That was the time.
Chrono Trigger gets a full double page thing in here. I never had Chrono Trigger.
I currently have 2 copies of Secret of Mana, hard copies.
I wasn't big into the RPGs and stuff, so I didn't and that was the machine for that. I missed out on that because I was a young kid. I didn't want to do all the reading. I was like Josh now. Didn't want to read.
Like Josh always.
Yeah, I don't want to read either.
One of the games, this is funny, I was just talking about it with my coworkers, is I used to play a game called Utopia. And it was like a SimCity style game where you would but with some tower defense kind of built into it. You had to get all your resources figured out and get your town built and then set up turrets because UFOs would come through and start messing stuff up. So you had to, and it was just level after level of doing that. And I remember I spent a ton of time playing that game. Ogre Battle is another one that was so good. Super Metroid, one of my top 5 games of all time. Right? It will forever be there.
The omnibus is pretty funny when you get into the back half of the alphabet because the naming convention for Super Nintendo for every game that came out was Super
Zelda.
Super Baseball 2020. This is what baseball was going to look like in 2020?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. But I mean, a Link to the Past, playing that for the first time, so good. So good. It was such a stellar title. The Street Fighter games. I remember when I got my Super Nintendo, and then we did Christmas that night with my aunt and uncle and stuff. I think because of the Super Nintendo, because they had more games for me. And I immediately ripped the box to shreds for Street Fighter 2 because my parents were like, no fighting games. And I was like, you don't understand. This is, and then Super Street Fighter and Killer Instinct. I mean, I used to practice arcade games and then go to the arcade and just dominate people. Mortal Kombat, Street Fighter, Killer Instinct.
What was the one with the dinosaurs?
Primal Rage.
Yeah, I remember that game. That was my most mature game as a kid. They had a little woman in a bikini, you know.
The little cave people running around.
The cave people.
So
I'd take a reboot of that game, please.
So I didn't own a NES. So one of the things I probably spent a lot of time playing, which I don't remember how it came about. Was it a send away, the first Mario All-Stars? Was it a Nintendo Power kind of thing, or was that
say that again?
The first the original Mario All-Stars?
Oh,
was that tied to a Nintendo Power send away? Because I remember getting it in the mail. Like
I think it was tied to a console. I think when you bought the console, you could send away for it.
Oh, that's probably how I got it then. Yeah, because I remember receiving it in a padded envelope, and it was a special kind of thing. Did you do the secret exit or no?
No.
Okay. But yeah, like I played a lot of inferior art version of Mario 1.
Did you when the Wii came out and they had the virtual console, I bought Super Mario Bros. 3, right? And I was so confused because I had only experienced Super Mario Bros. 3 through
the All-Stars collection.
Through the All-Stars, and I'm like, why does this look so different and so weird? And I didn't know, like I don't think I knew that it came out on the NES as opposed to the SNES. Like I thought it was just an SNES title, and that's why the characters looked like that. So that's why the sprites looked like that.
This is kind of interesting. Nintendo released Super Mario All-Stars in December of 94. As Super Mario All-Stars plus Super Mario World, which adds Super Mario World. It too is largely identical to the original, but Luigi's sprites were updated to make him a distinct character and not just a palette swap of Mario.
I wonder if the Nintendo Switch version has that, or if that's the one without. That's the one without World, but I don't know if it still has the updated sprites.
I'm trying to see. I'm not seeing anything that talks about the
release of it.
The release, but for some reason, I kind of vaguely remember something too about. I don't know, but like even just seeing the box art for Super Mario All-Stars, it just takes me back to a time where it was just everything. There was just so much hype. It was just like Mario and Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter and Super Star Wars games. Like the Turtles.
And those Star Wars games were so hard.
They were so hard, but I completed all three of them. I couldn't put them down.
I had Return of the Jedi on Game Boy. I don't know if I had any of them on Super Nintendo. I think I rented that's the thing. Like as kids, like games were like $90 back then too.
Yeah.
Yep. Like
I had to rent them at a pharmacy.
I don't think I had a ton of like games that I owned. I had a fair amount that like that was the Friday night thing to go do. Back in the day, we had Hollywood Video and Blockbuster, and some of your like grocery stores and pharmacies had small video and video game collection sections that you would go rent.
And stay away
that makes me think like I'm looking at the games that I still have, right? And I would get games for my birthday and for Christmas, and that just makes me like my parents definitely went in debt because of my
this guy's gonna kill me before I finish this level.
And now I feel kind of bad. Like maybe you shouldn't have bought Dr. Frankenstein or whatever the heck.
Well, and that's the thing. You had to pretend you liked it too because that was the only game you got.
Zombie My Labors. Yeah, that's that game. I remember that game.
Yeah,
I think they re-released it. I think they just re-released it, or there's a spiritual successor to it or something.
There's something. I remember seeing Limited Run Games had something recently. Nate is mentioning King of Monsters, which I purchased on the Switch. It's that's one of those arcade archives or whatever. Like that was a game I played a ton in the arcade. It's like King Kong wrestling match. Like you get 4 King Kong and Donkey Kong or Godzilla. I mean, you get them all in the city. You're smashing buildings, and it was a good time. Mr. 100 Rupees says Yoshi's Island was my favorite. It wasn't a game that I played. It didn't look interesting to me. Like Mario,
Babysitter Mario.
I can't stand that game. I don't understand why people like that game.
Crying Baby Mario is not a fun thing to listen to.
That just gives me anxiety about being a parent, and I'm not even a parent.
Oh my goodness.
I don't know how people like that game. It's like collectathon, and the baby's crying all the time.
Because it's a mix of what became the Yoshi franchise, but it was also the platforming of Super Mario World.
Yeah, well, and
how can you this game is perfect? I can play this game till the day I die.
I haven't played this game in a while, and you and I are still like falling into like regular, like we still remember it.
That's input lag.
This latency.
But I mean, we were talking about the movie games early on with the Super Nintendo, right?
Mm-hmm.
Batman Returns was one of the it was like,
isn't that a terrible game?
No, Batman Returns was incredible because it played just like the Konami beat 'em ups. It was like playing Final Fight or Aliens versus Predator or any of those games back.
How did you live through that? That's what I want to know.
Back in the day.
Skill. And it's all skill.
No, you did. How did you not get small right there?
Skill.
All I remember, you guys remember the scene in Batman Returns where Michelle Pfeiffer is like a hostage, right? And Batman shoots his grappling hook into the wall and then pulls it down on the guy.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I'm playing the game and I'm like, wait a minute. This is that scene in the movie. I have a grappling hook. And sure enough, I shoot it into the wall, pull it out, a chunk hits him and takes him all the way down to yellow, which just means I have to hit him like 4 or 5 times and I win that boss fight. That blew my mind as a kid. I was just like, I can't believe it. Nate's asking if Batman Returns was the first game to implement the double jump. I mean, that's a great question. I'm not sure. But yeah, like I said, the Turtles games were so good. The fighting games were so good. Mario Kart. I mean, Mario Kart, hours and hours and hours of Mario Kart. Like I didn't own it.
It's not that good now, though. It doesn't hold up.
I think it's still good, but it's way harder to control than it used to be, right? Like it used to be that was Mario Kart. It's what we knew. Now you play the other ones and you're like, this is a little rough to go back to, you know, a little tough.
We gotta get secret exit there, Johnny.
Yeah, I know.
So any other titles that we're forgetting? Like I'm trying to like really rack my brain. Battletoads and Double Dragon was another some more games that were just stellar. We talked about you
talked about Street Fighter. I mean, Street Fighter was a big thing that was like the arcade coming to the house. Like you said that and Killer Instinct. That was one of the big things that the Switch or that the Super Nintendo offered. Like I mean, I think everyone has different memories if you were a Genesis kid or a Super Nintendo kid, but like just the rise in graphics of what it could do and what it could look like was just something that you had played in the arcade that you were able to play at home.
Yeah. And I mean, they had been trying to do that since the 80s with the Atari and everything, but I mean, Pac-Man was horrible on the Atari. Like it was the worst. And the other games that
it was all skill, bro. It was all skill.
All skill. All right.
But we were talking about Capcom earlier, and I used to play a lot of Capcom games. Dang it. I used to play a lot of Capcom games. I used to play Mega Man X. There's the whole Mega Man X 1 through 4 or whatever the heck it was.
Yep.
Super Ghouls and Ghosts was my go-to game. That's like the original Dark Souls.
You hate yourself?
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever. So, spoilers for a very old game. You have to beat that game twice. So you go through the whole game, and the princess is like, I forgot an item. And then you have to go all the way back to the beginning and carry that item the whole way through the game again. And it's your weapon. Like, it's not, you can't pick up any other weapons.
That's
Use
rough.
Cheat codes for that.
And Arthur's running around in his underwear. Yeah.
In his undies. Yeah. But I mean, Castlevania, Super Castlevania, Super Contra, like, or I guess it was Contra Alien Wars, right?
Super do we even mention Super Metroid as well? Like Super Metroid.
Did. Yeah, I did.
Oh, you need to be big.
Was in my top,
no.
My top 5. I mean, even this game, getting to go backwards, that was like, what? That was like, what do you mean we can go?
Like this game was impressive that you could go backwards because you weren't used to being able to do that. Or no, I guess you could go back in Mario 3, couldn't you?
We could do it. You could do it in 2 and 3, but like
2 was a different style game though, a little bit.
It was, but like, and I don't know. Just even the secrets in this game. I had 3 profiles of this game, all like 100%. Like I had the fall colors. All of the turtles had Mario faces, like instead of shells. I don't know if you guys remember that they would change. So they
when you get all the exits, right?
Yeah, when you had all the exits. Like
spoilers for a 40-year-old.
I remember playing like Star Road. Like Star Road was like the
tubular.
Yeah, all the cool names.
And it was like the challenge in Mario. Like it was the first, besides like Lost Levels, it was a good challenge, and some of them were puzzles a little bit.
This level sucks.
Yeah, you got to be big.
Nate says Bomberman, so many memories with his dad on that one. Super Punch Out. I mean, so great. So great. I'm just going to even just fire up the Super Nintendo section here while you guys are playing and just take a peek to see if there's any Ken Griffey Jr.'s baseball.
Oh, I played that a ton. I had that on Game Boy and I rented that a ton. Yeah.
That was so
Home Run Derby all the time.
Yes, and some of the dudes just were all like Mark
Juiced
McGuire and
juiced up all the way.
And like you could run into the wall and then you would just smack into it and fall over backwards.
Yep.
Like you could jump and there was just, oh my goodness, there was so
don't mess this up. Don't mess this up. Don't mess it up. Don't mess it up.
Go down. Go down.
Claymates comes up, right? But it makes me think of Clay Fighter. Clay Fighter was incredible on here. I don't know if it's on here yet or if we'll ever see it, but was it called Captain Commando? Do you guys remember what I'm talking about? It was a beat 'em up and one of the characters was a baby in a mech.
I can look it up here after I get done.
Nate just said NBA Jam.
Oh, yep.
Wow. I forget about those games.
He's breaking the glass on the backboard. Like, oh man. So just there's so many. There's so many. Star Fox for the first time, right?
Yeah, it got better on 64 because it was pretty much the same game, but just
Star Fox 2 should have stayed unreleased. It's not good.
It was rough. But F-Zero was stellar,
Mm-hmm.
Sunset Riders. I don't know if you guys remember that, but like that was Konami at its best. Like it was an arcade style shooter where it was side scrolling and one guy had a shotgun that would shoot like in a burst. Somebody else had like a little bit faster repeater kind of gun. Like incredible title. Like Konami and Capcom could almost do no wrong back then. Johnny mentioned Mega Man X. Like I played so much Mega Man X. I could always I could get to Sigma and I could never beat him.
I only played Mega Man X. Like I didn't play. There's like
I didn't play the sequels and they're worth a fortune.
Yeah, I think there's 4 on there. Nate says Lion King. I know we talked about Aladdin, but Lion King, I love that game so much. Probably one of the hardest games ever made, though. I think that like
the giraffe,
I can't wait
the
to
giraffe,
be king.
the I can't wait to be king level is.
That game is hard. Don't let Disney fool you.
The wrestling games, like I have like WrestleMania games. They were stellar. They were so well done. Just so
ESPN just made game with Chris Berman on the cover. Baseball Tonight,
right?
National Hockey Night, Speed World.
Did you check Captain Commando? I'm gonna look it up real quick.
I'll look here. Hold on.
Let's see.
Captain Novlin, Captain Commando. Here.
See the let's.
I can't see my.
That's almost stressing me out.
I think that's the one. I'm gonna. Let's say. Oh yeah, that's it. That was an arcade game. Did either of you guys play that one? No. And it was. I mean,
the ads like commit scumicide. There's a Captain America and the Avengers game on here.
Oh, that's such a great game. That was an arcade game that I remember beating in the arcade. It was so good. Oh my gosh, Nate just said Vegas Stakes. Like I gambled so much.
And there's super when I was flipping through there was like Super Caesars or something like that. Super Caesars Palace.
Yep. For sure. Yeah, like I think even what was it? Oh my gosh. Adventure Island? Right? Super is the little kid on the skateboard. It was big on the they were big on the NES too. I'm gonna again look it up, but
I love Toy Story on the SNES.
Was it good?
So that's what I was getting confused about because I think I had Toy Story 2 on 64, but I did have I think Toy Story on Super Nintendo because you played all sorts of crazy stuff trying to. It was the game
like you got to be like the RC car.
Yeah. I do remember that, and I think I own that one.
Here's what I remember: the Genesis got X-Men 2, which was
I remember playing that at friends' houses, and that was the coolest thing because it had Nightcrawler in it, and it was
and Wolverine was crazy, and Cyclops, everything. The story was fun, and then we on the Super Nintendo had X-Men and Spider-Man: Arcade's Revenge, and it was like. It was so bad. Like it was not even close. And I was like, how, back then when you're a kid, you'd have no idea how game development works. And you literally think all games are coming from the same place. You're like, how'd they mess this one up so bad when the other one was so good? Jurassic Park on the Genesis was amazing. And it was so bad on the Super Nintendo. Like it was so bad on the Super Nintendo. So
I did that too.
But then he mentioned Maximum Carnage. That was an incredible Spider-Man game. Like it was so well done. And there's another one after it that I never played with more symbiotes and stuff. I saw it not too long ago in a retro game shop, and I was like, "What is this?" Like it was another killer Spider-Man game, and those were done very well. So, but then you have Batman Returns was great, and then Batman Forever, hot garbage, like not good at all. Like just absolute trash.
That's the thing. Games were so hit or miss. They weren't as bad as hit or miss like E.T. on Atari, but like they weren't made. But they were
probably rushed. They were trying to hit the holiday season or whatever, and
or coincide with the movie release.
The movie release.
So
I think E.T. was made in like 6 months or something by one guy.
Like less than I think.
I think it was 6 weeks. It was like he had no time at all. So, but I don't know. This has been
we did 5 worlds.
Well, we skipped 2 of them or 3. No, we skipped one of them because I think
we didn't do the castle. We took the upper bridge. Yeah,
you guys could have beat the game already, but you just been slacking. You just
can't you beat this game in like 15 minutes or something?
I believe so.
If you know how to get to Star Road, I think right away you probably could.
Yeah, I think in the in the Vanilla Dome, I think you can get up to the, or maybe it's not the Vanilla Dome. I can't
Well,
remember.
we
There's
want
one.
it to show content, okay? We want
That's right.
people
No,
to
you did.
see.
You did good, kid. You did good. So, thank you guys for hanging out. Like, we need topic ideas. Okay, that's what's gonna
This
keep the
button's
show
broken,
alive.
bro. This button's broken.
You just ran.
You're supposed to press down on the pipe to go get launched out of.
That. Oh, Tiny Toons Adventures Busters Loose. Oh my gosh. The Tiny Toons games. I think Animaniacs had a game. You know, like there's just
What didn't have a game? Like name a
right?
TV show it had a game.
Pretty much. Yeah. The Power Rangers games were great.
Oh
on
yeah, the
Super
Power Rangers
Nintendo.
games. I remember being a Megazord, and I thought that was the coolest thing in the world.
Oh yeah, of course. Godzilla had killer games on the Super Nintendo. Like they were great titles also. Like it.
I also remember doing cheat codes. Like I would always do cheat codes.
Oh,
Like
I
I
had a
didn't want
Game
to play.
Genie.
I didn't want to play.
I didn't have a
the
Game
Power
Shark
Rangers
until
game. I just wanted
64.
to be Megazord, so I
Yep.
just put the cheat code in, become a Megazord.
There you go. I love it.
Same
I
with
love
Super
it.
Ghouls and
So,
Ghosts. There was like a way to get infinite lives, and
of course, yeah.
I was a hacker back then.
Hey, you gotta do what you gotta do. You know, you gotta do what you gotta do. So, but seriously, the way the show's gonna be going moving forward is we want weekly topics. So jump into the Discord. I'll be posting the questions. n64josh.com/Discord. We're gonna take your topics. That's what we're gonna talk about. Because if looking back on Nintendo stuff still gets me super hyped and like I love the nostalgia trip.
Just
And-
playing this game has been super fun.
Yeah, just watching you guys, I'm like kind of jealous, honestly, that you've both been able to play this whole time. Like it's a stellar title. So thank you guys so much for listening. I know this has been a long one. Some of them might be this way, some of them might not. It's just the way it's going. But
Only 2 a.m. for me.
we're kind of revamping things, and these are going to start coming out on a regular basis again. So we'll see you guys in the next one. Bye, everybody.
Later.
Bye.